Hello, and welcome back to yet another empowering episode of Pep Talks with Megan De La Concha. That is me, your host, and I am so excited as always and so grateful that you have decided to tune in yet again, or maybe for the first time. I really hope that this episode really speaks to you. We are all about building confidence, resilience, and transformation based on faith. Pep Talks with Megan De La Concha is about having real conversations about real life and real crap that we're going through, trying to figure it out along the way, but really breaking barriers and learning how to get over ourselves so that we can become our best selves. Before we get into today's episode, I just have a couple of housekeeping items. So, number one, if you are watching this on the YouTube channel, and if you're not, you should be, but if you are watching and listening, please take this moment to pause and hit subscribe or hit like or simply hit share, because sharing is caring and it really helps a sister out. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, please take a moment to rate. If you want to leave a little message of how amazing this content is, wink, wink, I would appreciate that as well. But just obviously helps boost numbers. It helps get the podcast out there. It really just helps it grow. And I want to touch as many, many, many people as possible, because so many people are hurting and are sitting in a silent pain. And I am here to tell them that they are not alone and that we can change that to get to where they want to be and get the life they are always meant to live, it is possible. If you are not following me yet, please follow me on Instagram at Megan DLC. It'll be right below for you guys because it's a little bit different, _. And also on my Facebook page, which you can either follow me, Megan De La Concha, and I do have a separate page called PEP, PEP, with Megan De La Concha as well. I'm excited to have you. I am building a community. Soon I will have a private Facebook community, but more on that later. Huge, huge, huge announcement. I am so excited, but I am ready to tell the world that I am currently in development of my own 6-week personal empowerment program called Ashes to Grace. Yay! This is amazing. And this course is really geared for women. And this is how I will teach you how to build confidence, resilience, and transformation by increasing your faith and by breaking toxic cycles so that you can find the woman and be the woman that you were meant to be and live the life that you were meant to live. So after taking this 6-week course, it's a live course with me. We'll have phone calls every week. You'll have a power hour with me. It will be filled with modules and fun worksheets to really get you to a standard of grace that you need in your life for these transformational breakthroughs to happen. After this 6-week empowerment course, you will be able to connect with God on a deeper level that will allow you to walk fully in faith. You will recognize and break toxic cycles through the grace method. That is the method I used to get from my ashes to where I am today. You will also be able to find and live your true identity by rediscovering yourself. Empower your life with unstoppable confidence by increasing your self-growth, and become resilient when struggles and hardships arise, because life is not absent of these things, but we can manage these things by creating self-awareness, and also create your life transformation by increasing your faith. Whatever that faith means to you, whatever a higher power is to you, whatever your creator looks like to you. For me, it is God, it is Jesus Christ, it's the Holy Spirit, it's the Lord. I read the Bible. It's a spiritual thing for me. But I was not always on that journey, and I definitely dipped into things like Buddhism, and just different types of spiritual aspects, not really religion heavy, okay? But just more of just a spiritual enlightenment and a spiritual belief and energy and all of that amazing stuff. So that is going to be launching. I do not have a date yet, but it is in the works. But I am so excited. I will be putting out a wait list. That's why I want you to follow me on social media, because I am going to be putting out a wait list that you can sign up. So when this course launches, if you want to be involved in the beta launch, which will be offered at a significant discount, I want you to get on the waiting list so you can stay up to date with all of the updates and the launch date, and grab an amazing deal that you're going to get for 6 weeks and become a part of my team. So that is it for housekeeping. Let's dive into today's episode. And this is actually going to cover one of the things that this course is going to cover. And that is how we become resilient and how we build confidence by creating our self-awareness, especially when dealing and managing with emotions and feelings. Ugh. I know some of you guys are already ready to turn that button off to the next podcast, the radio, because we don't want to talk about feelings, right? But we have to, because they are an integral part of our everyday life. I mean, our feelings can change by the minute. And if anybody says, no, that's not true, use a liar. Use a liar. So, a little bit about me, because I always like to put a personal touch on this, as this is my life in living form. And I need to let you guys know that this, yet again, is not a theory that I think people are going through. This is something that I have actually gone through, and I've developed for myself, and I use, and it has been one of the most amazing tools that I have been able to actually create for myself. And that's one of the biggest things about self-awareness and self-discovery, is that there are so many amazing self-help books and podcasts and magazines and blogs and coaches out there that are amazing. But what you have the power to do is, when you educate yourself and you discover things about yourself, you can take advice from all of these amazing leaders and these amazing mentors, and you can create and develop something that works for you, that has your own understanding, that resonates with you and the way you do things and your lifestyle, okay? When we're changing, we're not changing into somebody completely different. We're just taking ourselves and we're just making ourselves better. So when you create self-awareness, it allows you to manage a lot of the things that come into our lives, because we can be the most confident and the most resilient, and we can make all these transformations. And that's really cool, right? But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't mean that we're absent of bad days. We're not absent of struggles, of financial woes, of relationship issues, of self-image issues, of maybe not trusting, or having a season of not trusting the Lord so much, or our faith, where we don't take care of ourselves in certain seasons. So many things. We are not absent of anxiety and fears and worries. We just know how to manage them better. So that is what I really want you guys to get into your head today, because when you think the latter, when you think that becoming confident and resilient means that you just live this amazing life that is completely, and I mean like 100% stress-free, and you're happy all the time, and you don't have bad days, and you're never anxious, and everything just works out the way you think it should work out, or the way it should work out, and we're all just singing Kumbaya all the time, that is so unrealistic. And those are not manageable or sustainable expectations. It's just not. That is just not the game of life. But when we have amazing confidence and we have resilience, we are able to tackle these hurdles that may have hurdled us in the past. For instance, my past, I lived the majority of my life without knowing it for a good while, with just full of anxiety and a touch of depression. That's what my therapist called it. You have anxiety with a touch of depression. Some people have depression with a touch of anxiety. Sometimes it's half and half. It shows up in so many different forms. But I was definitely an anxious creature. So much so that it was my default state. It was my natural state. And anxiety is bred out of fear, right? That's the root of it. And it controlled my decisions in life, big decisions and small decisions. I was making decisions out of fear. I was making rash decisions out of anxiety. It controlled my actions. It controlled my mood. It controlled my reactions. I don't think I ever really started to respond to situations until I'm living an adult life, like probably until, I don't know, 6 years ago. Truly, 6 years ago, I was always in a reactive state. And anxiety controlled my sleep. It controlled everything about me. Every decision I made, even going to the grocery store and trying to pick out what we needed with this much money that we had, everything was out of fear or out of anxiety. No, I wasn't going to get that because I fear I'm not going to have enough money. Or at the time, in the situation that I was in, I was afraid that the person I was taking these groceries home to was going to yell at me because I got the wrong thing, or why did you get this? I mean, it was awful. Every step I took, every breath I took was grounded in fear. So anxiety was absolutely my default state. It was what I thought was my natural state. So I went to therapy. I sought out therapy, which was the best decision, the best, aside from my children and marrying my husband, the best decision I have ever made. Therapy allowed me to open the door to creating self-awareness, to open the door to self-discovery. It allowed me to turn the compass inward and focus on myself and focus on my self-care. So it was there that I had learned to be aware of what I was feeling, why I was feeling it, and try to understand what the root of what I was feeling. Where did it come from? What is this coming from? And when you just have a handle on that, it is so empowering, because then you actually have a choice and you have a decision on how you want to respond to these feelings, to this anxiety, to these thoughts. Are you going to want it to rule your day and rule things that you say to people and how you act towards them and how you react towards them? Or are you able to dismantle them? So you get to have a choice, and having a choice is empowering. It's one of the most empowering things you can do. So educating yourself, putting the work in for yourself, growing your self-awareness and growing your self-discovery empowers you because it gives you a choice. Now, what I want to discuss today, and like I said, this is just a tad bit of something that you will learn in the course under our self-awareness topic, is a method that I developed, and it is called the RAD method, RAD. And it stands for recognizing, accepting, and dismantling. And I love mental health. So what this RAD method incorporates is really self-care of the mind. And what I have come to discover is we need to embrace all of our emotions and all of our feelings. And I know I spoke a little bit about this on an Instagram video a while ago. And I'm speaking from my own personal experience. So we tend to categorize emotions and feelings, right, into these are good feelings, these are bad feelings. Being happy, being joyful, being full of peace, those are all good feelings. Being sad, being angry, being frustrated, being stressed, being doubtful, those are all bad feelings. So, human nature, what do we do? What do our minds do when something is bad? Bad food, bad habits, a bad person. We automatically develop a sense of restriction. We want to constrict it. We want to push it down. We want to run away from it. We want to avoid it, right? But we know that the harder you resist something or the harder you try to avoid something, it just seems to grow and grow and grow. And that just makes us even more anxious and more angry and more frustrated because we don't want to feel this way. And we're trying so hard to resist this feeling that it just grows as a monster inside of us. And it completely destroys our day. And it completely takes over our mind. And it completely takes over our attitudes and our mood. And then it's like the floodgates just open up into your mind of negative thoughts and self-talk and doubts and uncertainties. And it is a vicious cycle. So being able to recognize what we're feeling is step number one. So if we're feeling angry, where we woke up on the wrong side of the bed, we woke up sad, we have to stop and just acknowledge that, right? And recognize it and say, okay, you know what? I feel sad today. I feel like shit today. I feel shitty. I feel like crap. I'm in a really bad mood. Boom, that's it. That is it. We don't have to sit there and be like, oh man, I just don't feel good. I'm in a mood, but I'm going to swallow it. I'm going to push it down. Everything is great. It's going to be great. Everything's great. Everything's great. Tell me one more time and I'll believe it. Everything's great. That just creates resistance. And that creates friction. And that creates energy. And so it's going to amplify that feeling. So when we recognize that we're sad or we're angry or we're frustrated, we're able to then accept it and say, okay, you know what? Yes, I am frustrated today. I am really freaking frustrated. Nothing is really going my way. I woke up this morning. I stubbed my toe. I'm out of toothpaste. My hair is doing some crazy thing. The shirt I wanted to wear has a stain on it. Nothing fits. I'm in a bad freaking mood today. Okay, we're recognizing that. Now let's accept it. And accepting it does not mean to go be a jerk to everybody else. No, it just means accept it in your brain that you are feeling some type of way. Because just as much as you feel happiness and joy and peace, and you give all your attention to that, you also have to give your attention to these quote unquote bad feelings that we're feeling. They need some TLC too. We allow happiness and joy and excitement and passion. We welcome it to thrive in this pool, right? We like to air it out. Come live here. Stay as long as you want. But as soon as any other emotion comes along that's not in this specific category, no, absolutely, you're not allowed to be here. But why? A feeling is a feeling. An emotion is an emotion. Whether it's on one end of the spectrum or the other, it's the same spectrum. It's the same thing. It's a feeling. It's an emotion. So you have to respect it and you have to accept that this is something that you're feeling. Now, the reason that you may be feeling this way, that might not be the truth, right? That could have been something that you've been thinking in your head and it's been festering. I'm not saying that the reason you're feeling frustrated is okay or the reason you feel sad is the truth, but you are feeling those things, right? Right. So stop trying to push it down and stop trying to even push through it, because that's another action that we take is we try to get through it. Like, oh, I just got to push through. No, sometimes you just have to let those feelings lay where they're going to lay. Let those feelings air themselves out. Become curious in that space. Ask questions. Get outside of your own head and say, okay, well, why am I sad today? Why am I frustrated? Get to the root of it. Was it really that person that pissed you off in traffic? Or was it something maybe your husband or your wife or your kid said to you this morning? Was it really that? Or are you dealing with something internally that you haven't addressed yet, and now it's starting to kind of come out in different little ways? And now we're starting to project onto other people saying, it's your fault. It's your fault. I'm mad at you. You did this. Those are things that we have to become aware of. And it's okay because we all do it. We all do it time and time and time again. And it doesn't even matter how aware you are, it's going to happen again. But this is where we can dismantle it. This is the D. The R was for recognize, the A was for accept, and the D is for dismantle. So now that we've recognized how we're feeling and we're going to give it space, right? We're going to give it space to live. We're going to give it some TLC. We're going to look at it and say, hey, you, what you doing? Let's figure you out. Come on in, right? Then we're going to accept it and say, yes, okay. Yep, I recognize that I'm sad. I recognize I'm angry. I recognize that I'm frustrated. So I'm going to accept that this is how I feel right now. So let's explore that. And whether you want to be in a crappy mood for 24 hours or whether you're just like, I'm going to give myself 2 hours just to kind of be in this space, because let's face it, sometimes it feels good to be angry, right? That is proof right there that we need to nurture our feelings, because it feels good to be angry. Because guess what? Something probably happened that is making you angry and you need to address it. So it's your mind physically manifesting an emotion and a feeling that's saying something is going on here. You need to address it. And the more you don't, the more you avoid it, the more you resist it, the more it's going to come. The more it's going to come, the broader it's going to come. And it's going to come in so many different ways. So we need to reel it back in and start to dismantle this emotion or this feeling, which usually is coming from a limiting belief or is usually coming from some type of insecurity or some type of self-doubt. And again, we all go through this because feelings and emotions, no, they are not your friends, and no, they are most certainly not facts. But a lot of times we take them as the real truth and we act on them and we react on them. And we get in our own friggin' way. So by recognizing, by accepting them, giving them the space to live, we can then dismantle them because now we have become aware of what this feeling is. We have accepted what the truth is behind this. And now we're able to actually work on the root of the problem. Well, I woke up frustrated because honestly, I'm getting really nervous about this job I have to do. I'm getting nervous about where we're going to pay the next bill. I'm getting really stressed about that, but I don't want to admit it because I don't want to look weak, or I don't want to stress my husband or my wife out, or, I don't want to add any other burden on anybody else's plate, but I feel like I'm taking it all on myself. That is just an example. But when you get to the root of it, you're able to peel back the layers and you're able to dismantle that feeling. You're able to knock out that limiting belief. You're able to knock out that self-doubt. You're able to battle it. You're able to fight the lies with the truth, and allows your awareness to grow. So the next time something comes up, you're able to instantly recognize it, instantly accept it, and start the work on dismantling these feelings. Because like I said, these are energy. Think about it. When I have a day where I am very anxious, and I have those days, I have learned that instead of trying to deny it and avoid it and push through it, I just have to accept it and welcome it and say, okay, I'm having an anxious day today. And you know what? I'm not really even sure why, but I recognize that I'm anxious and my energy is running on a lower frequency, a lower vibrating lower. We know what I'm trying to say. And I accept that. And how I start to even dismantle that is I give myself the day. You know what? I'm not even going to do any work today, because when I am trying to do work and I'm trying to do really good work and I'm trying to do work that's transformational, if I'm coming at that work I'm coming at it with an anxious energy. What do you think I'm going to put out? Exactly what I'm putting in. Anxiousness. It's going to be shoddy work. So I'm not going to touch anything that means something to me when I am in this state. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a nap. I am going to watch a romantic comedy. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm just going to take care of myself today. I'm going to give myself the space for this anxiousness to live without it getting out of control, because the way you don't let it get out of control is by recognizing and accepting it. When you push it down and you reject it and you avoid it, it takes control over you, right? It's counterintuitive, but it will control you. But the way you get on top of it, the way you control it, is you recognize it, you accept it, and then you do what you need to do to dismantle it. And for me, when I have those days, it's just taking the time to myself. I'm going to put down the phone. I'm going to get off social media. I'm going to close the laptop. I'm going to spend more time with my kids, spend more time with myself, spend more time with the Lord, do some yoga, cook, clean, whatever I have to do. I'm going to give myself the space to feel how I'm going to feel, knowing that by doing that, I'm dismantling this anxious feeling, and tomorrow is going to be a better day. Because it's like I have my bachelor's in alternative medicine, and in one of those classes was manual therapies, and one of the topics was the art of massage. And one of the things that we were taught is that, masseuses really have to be in control and really in check with their inner feelings, with their thoughts and their emotions, because it's all energy. So when they come into a room that's supposed to be tranquil and serene and stress-free, and you have the lavender going and the oils and the lights are low, when they start giving you a massage, if they're in a really bad place, let's say they're going through a tough divorce, maybe they lost a child, maybe they're trying to get pregnant and they can't, maybe they lost their house, maybe, they're having just struggles that are really putting them in a bad or a lower energy space. When they come in and perform a massage on you, guess what's happening? They are transferring that negative, low energy to you. Right? So that's why they encourage, check yourself. You got to keep yourself in check. So for me, if I am vibrating at a lower energy and I put that into my work, if I don't give, if I try to push through, if I try to ignore what I'm feeling and just keep going about my day with a fake smile when it's really hurting inside, it's just, you're magnifying what you're trying to avoid. And then you just end up feeling worse at the end of the day. Because when the end of the day comes and you finally get a chance to sit by yourself, you cry and you're pissed off and you're angry because you went all day trying to avoid this feeling. And now you feel defeated because you're feeling it anyway, and you're feeling it 10 times worse. So as much as we give this space for happiness and joy and excitement and just all the good positive vibes to live, we also have to understand that the negative vibes are gonna come. They are gonna come, sometimes stronger than others, right? Some days are harder than others. Sometimes the fight is harder than other days. But the way you start to manage that and the way you start to grow your self-awareness is through the RAD method. So next time you start feeling yourself having a, quote, bad emotion, which it's really just an emotion, it shouldn't be categorized, I urge you to take just a moment, just a simple moment, and accept that and say, you know what? I do feel like shit today. I recognize it. I'm going to accept the fact that I feel this way. I'm not going to be a jerk to other people because this is my deal and my deal alone, but I'm going to accept that fact. You instantly can almost breathe better, right? You can almost feel your shoulders relax a little bit and say, okay, yeah. And that gives you the power to make a choice to explore, to become curious, and to start dismantling that feeling and emotion. And that grows your self-awareness, which grows your resilience, which grows your confidence. I hope that helps somebody out there today. Please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. I want you all to have a wonderful, most empowering week. If you need extra time with me, go to megandelaconcha.com and book a free phone call today. Have a wonderful week, you guys. I will catch you next Monday.